Okay, we are live. Welcome, everybody. And nobody's here yet, of course. So,
Uh,
per usual on my show, I might need to start doing what you do. Start some sort of pre-show. That way, give people half an hour to show up.
the only thing I would recommend is not do the half hour because I think it's too long. But I'm addicted to it, so I don't mind. But like I think
Yeah,
it does hurt us.
yeah, but it might. It's hard to say. Just maybe not do half an hour of music.
What else
Hmm.
would you put in there?
You
Right?
could put some of your drawings in there, various things related to your channel.
Yeah, but people get bored with drawings. I think I don't know. I get bored with my drawings. But that's
I
Yeah,
me.
guess when
yeah, of course you get bored with your drawings.
I
All
uh,
right,
guess.
Diana, hit the slate. Let's go.
Slate, where?
what's what slate are
So we're
you?
actually live on the air right now.
Yeah, we should be. And let me share it out too.
That's cool. I know Diana shared it because I went to my channel and she had already shared it. I was like, oh, look
Hmm.
at that lady.
I did.
Yeah, that's how I know all those 20-year-old girls that liked me aren't real because Diana would kill me.
Well, they can like you, but they can't have you. They can't touch. They can look, but
Well,
not
every once in a
touch.
while, you'll get one that's chatty, and they'll be like, "Hello, mate. I'll be in New York this afternoon if you're going to be there for dinner." And I'm like, "Don't even reply. This is like clickbait. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I don't even know who you are. Why are you sending me messages?" Then I have people who come on and they like me and their name is Elon 525 or something, right?
Yeah,
And I've had people try to call me. Like on my Twitter, you know how they have the phone call thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
Literally had Elon Musk wannabes try to call me.
Oh my God,
And if
that's
you
funny.
answer it,
yeah.
it sounds like Elon because they're using AI to disguise their voice, but it can't be Elon.
Yeah. I think I've had something like that. Somebody, well, actually, I think it's was somebody try and call me in the thing. Hey, Timothy is in the chat. Twitter phone
What's
calling
up,
thing.
brother Tim? You know
Hey,
what'll be a
Tim.
trip if I find out Elon's really been trying to contact me?
Yes, he wants
Years of hanging up on him and you find out it was really him. Oh, snap.
Oh.
Timothy.
That
He's
would be my
saying,
luck,
"What's
though.
up, Chris?"
Hmm.
Yeah, I can see him. Hey, Tim, I see you because I am also looking at YouTube to my right.
Tim says, "Plot twist. I am
Yeah.
Elon."
Yes.
Yes,
Hey,
you may
I think
be
the phrase
Elon, but
is,
you're not Elon. What's his name? Last name? I
yeah, but I think
forget.
the ultimate goal of Elon might be, we are Elon. I don't know, man. That guy is like, we're all going to Mars and we're going to have AI implanted in our heads and we're all going to be great. And I'm like, some of this stuff sounds a little antichrist to me. I gotta put in a little bit of pumping the brakes here. Let's talk
Yeah.
about this for a minute.
Yeah, well, the problem is he does. I'm not sure whether he know about that. Even if he does, he probably doesn't care about it.
Well, I
Because
believe he's an atheist, but I'm not positive.
yeah,
Uh, and like to be honest, I don't really care. I mean, I would like him to be saved,
yeah,
but he's a billionaire. I'm not going to change anything about him unless like I get blessed to have an occasion. And if that happens, it wouldn't be me doing it anyways. It would be God. So that would be,
yeah,
he paves the way, bro.
for sure.
Ugh.
I know every
Uh,
time I try to go it alone, I end up on like a dirt road with boulders and porcupines and skunks and yeah. But if I let
so,
him, it always goes well.
it looks like Diana changed her color background and her picture in her thing.
I didn't
Yeah,
mean to
look at
do the.
it's her.
Well, I think the color goes based on whatever image you choose. And of course,
Oh,
So the background is based on something in yours, like the color of your wall there.
oh, I don't like it. I gotta go back. But I am listening.
and of course,
Okay.
yeah. It looks like Chris has chosen the cover that he made for me for Canadian Shield 3.
You know what's funny is that's been there since the last time I came in. So when I came on tonight, I saw it and I knew what it was, and I was like, I'm gonna leave it. That's kind of cool. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like sometimes being on Discord has its advantages. I just haven't been on for a long time.
yeah.
Right.
I don't do a
Yeah.
lot. I don't do a lot on it like I used to.
Oh,
No.
really?
I used to have it so there was a chat room in here, chat room on it,
Yeah.
and you could, you know, people could, well, by chat room, a chat that was connected to my my YouTube chat, and
Uh-huh.
I probably could do it, or like my streaming
Right.
chat, I probably could get it back somehow. I'm just not sure how offhand. And Chris is no longer transmitting.
No, I'm here, but I'm trying to get my camera on, and it just defaulted back to OBS cam again. So I got to figure out why. But I am still live. It's
Well, you can go into
probably
the
in my Google extensions.
if you go into the voice and something, voice video, video and voice, you should be able to.
Yeah.
No, that was for just your voice.
Yeah, no. When I went there, it said default camera, and there were no other options. But I used to use that what it's saying that is the oh god, what's it called again? Hang on. The OBS virtual camera. So it's
Yeah,
something in my system. I've just got to go turn it off. I'm looking for it right now.
yeah. So,
Because it's overriding the FaceTime. When I first came in, the FaceTime was working.
hey, metal, metal's here. Let Tim say.
Metal?
So, yeah, the metal.
Mm-hmm. We
He-
remember the medal.
Yeah. Let's see. Tim said, so will Canadian Shield fight Chris Bacon? Not the human Chris Bacon, but literally a bacon. A bacon named Chris. Crispy Bacon?
Is there such a thing?
I don't know whether. I don't think there is in my universe, at least not yet. But, yeah, so yeah, it's definitely been a few months since you guys have been here. Your last project, Chris was saying, or was that we had you on for was Cyclopean number 10.
Was it 10 or was it 9? Because I can't remember
Or
now.
it could have been either. I don't know.
I think I was on 9 and I'm going to 10. But I
uh,
interrupted it with this Darkness Dies.
yeah,
Faces of the Cardinal.
yeah. The Cardinal of
And I'm coming
Justice.
back to it, but
But
Right.
yeah, I had it for. I just when I was looking up to do all this talking with thing, as I call this segment when I bring creators on, talking with. I found the Chilled stream from like February of last year when I was back in BC, and I had you guys on for Cyclopean 7.
Yep.
that makes sense.
So yeah. So yeah, you've got a new project on the go. No longer with that one-eyed freak.
Well, we're going back to the One-Eyed Freak. The Cardinal has actually been in the last 2 issues of the Cyclopean, both in the main story and as a backup story. In the main story, he's just a supporting character. But hang on a second, I gotta hit this button. It's gonna do something. The audio should still work, but okay. Does the audio still work?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right, let's see if this comes back. Oh yeah, of course. Now it lost the camera. I had it and then I lost it. What?
I had it, then I lost it. I lost it, then I had it.
Anyway, where were we?
Are you talking about how
Cardinal.
Cardinal was in the last couple episodes?
Yeah,
Books of,
so the first 2 appearances of how shall I say, the original Cardinal from the 14th century actually appear as backup stories in the Great Cyclopean. And I realized where I want to take the story. and I realized I didn't want it to be in my Cyclopean book, which is generally targeted towards all ages with a slant towards kids. And this was definitely not going to be able to, go there. So we decided to make it a graphic novel, including those two pieces. And then I was going to make, I thought maybe a 24-page book total. And then it went up to 40. And then, no, it's going to be about 70. And now we're coming up on the end of the book, and I'm right around
1,003.
130. No, I'm around 130, and it's probably going to be 140 before it's done, plus, because I already have other stuff that's going in there too. So it's going to be a big book, our biggest book yet. And it's, Diana, how much is it, please?
It is $20
Oh, that's cheap.
for the
Cheap.
It's black and white.
Yeah.
And that was deliberate.
I guess that would help. And hello, Mike. Yeah, I'm on a bit early tonight. I started a bit early tonight so Chris and Diana could come on without being super tired.
Hey, Mike. Good to see you, man.
So I figured I'd start at 9 for them. We'll go to hopefully. Well, I'll probably go longer than a minimum of 10, but we'll hopefully have them on for a good hour talking about that, and their campaign, of course.
Yeah, I turn into a pumpkin at 10.
Sometimes you get past 10 before you turn into that pumpkin.
I'm like, all right, I'm done. I got to go to bed. I'm sorry, you guys. So yes, we're excited about this. This Darkness Dies is a very interesting graphic novel for Chris because it is, I feel like, the complete opposite direction of the Great Cyclopean as far as a hero and the targeted audience and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's not as gritty as your other one that you were doing a while back. Had 3 issues. Yeah, Clusterfudge.
Right. The thing to remember about this book is, so it's got some very deep contrasting things happening. The Cardinal is a hero of righteousness. He's the Cardinal of Justice. He's actually granted powers through the intervention of 3 angels who were actually angels who battled for Jesus Christ while he was on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And they were actually left behind when Jesus ascended, and they've been waiting for a call to duty, and Jesus has not called them. Now, come the 14th century, our hero Fernando becomes entwined with them. And I don't want to say too much there because actually, I think we've published that part of the story already. He essentially gets a splinter while moving some ancient wood that actually has some of the DNA of Christ in it. It's got some of his blood in it, and it gets into his blood. And he finds when he prays, these angels respond. And that is how the relationship starts. But this gift is passed down, and they go from basically firstborn son to firstborn son, enabling them to become the Cardinal once more, because they are not allowed to directly intercede, or directly interact or intervene against the fallen ones, but they are allowed to help righteous men. And that's exactly what they do. And we follow this journey through a few versions of the Cardinal. However, the idea is the Cardinal is he's generational, much like the Phantom. He goes from timeline, from era to era through these men. And when we get to the 20th century, much like the way the world is, he's kind of jumbled up. He's kind of messed up. The 20th century has been incredible for mankind, both good and bad, and that's reflected in the character. Now, he himself does not become, gritty, nasty, dirty, whatever, like the Clusterfudge stuff. However, the bad guy in this book, Kaitis, who is raised as the antithesis of the Cardinal. I said that word right. We always struggle with that. Anyways, he is nasty, vile, never has anything good to say, is always disgusting as he can be. And he's actually the counterpoint to the Cardinal. He is the pinnacle of darkness. And what you'll find is the book is called Darkness Dies.
Mhm.
So I don't want to say too much
Yeah.
else, but this is a very important chapter for the Cardinal. And if
Well-
you find that you like his graphic novel, he is going to be continuing in the Cyclopean series. But this was something I had to get down on paper, both artistically and as a writer, and basically for the entirety of my universe, because he's going to be an important character going forward after issue 12.
Okay.
And really-
Well, that sort of brings me to a question. You said he's been a backup in the Cyclopean books. So does that mean he is actually part of the Cyclopean universe itself, like a character
Yeah, see, that was
in
a little
it, or is
confusing how I
it?
said it. So the graphic novel tells the story, the history of the Cardinal, but the Cardinal has been appearing in the storyline of the Great Cyclopeans. So he came in basically as an agent of assistance for the Great Cyclopean in the 7th issue of the book, and he's been in the 8th issue, and he's been in the 9th as well. And his role is basically support, trying to help the Cyclopean in his battle against the UFO and another monster that's in there. However, not to get too far off the path, while he's a supporting character in the main book, I started telling his story because I knew he was going to be generational. I knew he was going to be involved with angels who imparted power to him. I knew all that stuff. What I didn't know was I wanted to tell the story in a more mature manner. So the book, it touches on, his religion. It touches on his family life and the way that he might viewed his separation from humanity by being a demon hunter, basically.
Right.
And when it comes to the world wars, which World War I and II changed everything, it also changed the Cardinal. And that's a big part of the story. America changes the Cardinal. And there's a lot of metaphors in there, and I don't know. I think it's written in a way that some people will pick it up and appreciate it, and other people, they'll read over it, but they'll be into other parts of it,
So how did you come up with the concept of this character, the Cardinal?
Oh, this is a beautiful question, Rick. Thank you for asking it. So the Cardinal is attached to a friend of mine who goes by the name of Neo, even though his real name is Eric, but I won't go into why he's Neo. Just that's his nickname. He's part of a group of guys that I hang out with, and as long as I've been, friends with one of the guys, we were always making comic book characters based on ourselves with exaggerated
Hold on
attributes.
a sec, guys.
Yep.
Can you guys hear Chris talking?
I can't.
You can't?
I can't hear me.
I
Oh, hang
can.
on. I know what he's saying on YouTube. Hang on. Test. Test.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
I'm on YouTube too.
Okay, just because the desktop audio thing wasn't going up here, so I wasn't sure whether you've been talking all this time and they couldn't hear you, but they can, so.
I might have to get closer to the mic.
Well, but this browser one's picking you up, so okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
So,
And hello, Joshua.
hi, Joshua. So just to get through the long story, basically we were making self-inserts as kids. And one of those self-inserts is also in the Cyclopean in the character of Captain Aura. Well, I'm hanging with these guys and I'm partying with them, and I put another guy who's actually the son of Captain Aura in there called Wiretap. So Wiretap's in the book, and I put Cardinal in because Eric had a character from his childhood called the Cardinal that he had intended to turn into a memorial or like a tribute to one of the friends that he had that had passed in his childhood. But he was like, "Yeah, I'd be the Cardinal." I was like, "Okay, you're the Cardinal." And I based the costume off his like 5th grade art. And that's why the Cardinal actually looks exactly the way he does, because it's all based on his original sketch, which was, of a young child's art mind. So it's not really my design. But then the story was interesting because he has a whole novel basically in mind for the character. And I said, I'd love to adapt into Hero Shack universe properly. Do you mind if I mess with him? Well, that was sure, do whatever you want to. And it's become this huge story that has nothing to do with his story. In fact, I tried to write his story into it, and he was like, no, I want to make that a novel. So when you're reading the graphic novel, you'll run into a cardinal of great, unique attributes by the name of Michael Burns. Michael Burns was going to be the tribute character, and I removed it for the sake of I didn't want to mess with his novel, but the character still endures, and that's probably the closest I get to Eric's original story. But I wanted to bring his character in. I got a lot of inspiration off of the man himself, because after all, in the Hero Shack universe, he would be a insert of a real person. It's kind of part of the gag with it. And he's very Catholic. He's very faithful, very dedicated. He's not pushy. So of course, I've been able to have theological differences without any battles. But he's a super intelligent, super nice guy, and he's been a blast to work with because he wasn't really part of it in the beginning, but lately, as I send him proofs, he's giving input and suggestions, and of course he didn't want to include the character's original concept into the universe when I got there because it just wasn't going to fit properly, and I respect that. But it's I don't know how to put it, but like if I was to get one of those calls that people seem to think would be great. I'm not so sure, but if like Netflix called tomorrow, he would definitely be in on the contract negotiation. I would definitely be giving him a huge cut as co-creator.
Yeah.
With that said, I wrote the entirety of the novel, which is unique from what he wrote, but still, the inspiration came from his character.
Yeah, but so I think what he's alluding to, his wasn't generational. You're the one that introduced the generational thing.
Yeah, his wasn't generational, and the power set is similar, but the way he got his powers wasn't connected to what I ended up creating at all. His was more like the Flash, splashed by chemicals in an accident becomes the Cardinal. Mine was more like, I have this grand vision of like the DNA of Christ getting into a person. And when I first explained it, I said, imagine if the cross of Christ bit a person like a spider biting Peter Parker.
Yeah, well, I in my universe, I'm not sure I forget which character, but I think I've tried to do something similar. The blood of Christ. Somehow the blood of Christ got somebody scoops them up or whatever, and somehow.
Well, now I know that some Christians out there might cringe and say, "Oh my God, they're writing about the blood of Christ. It's sacrilegious." No, it's geek fantasy using the greatest hero that we've ever known, and that's Christ. So I'm not being sacrilegious or claiming he's Jesus or anything like that, but that little bit of blood gave him a telephone line to a couple of exclusive agents.
Yeah, and how many songs are written about? There's one. There's power in the blood. There's power in the blood, in the precious blood of the Lamb. So we take that and we make it literal. Somebody gets part injected in them or used to make something, and they get power because of it.
Right. In saying all of this, I want to caution anybody out there who might hear this. This book isn't it's not an evangelical book. It's not written with a church crowd in mind. Kitus drops F-bombs and is nasty when he talks. The people that he possesses take on that personality, which is often a tell. If you want to know whether or not someone is being influenced by this evil thing, they'll get nasty all of a sudden. And it's been an opportunity to write a lot of different things that I didn't expect to write. Like the dialogue of a nasty demon is way different than even a mean man or a bad villain, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I've sort of done it. Of course, I keep it somewhat clean. I don't drop
yeah,
the
no, I
F
went right
bomb.
for rated R. I was like, all right, so I didn't want to make a mature book that was only mature because I had, one or two scenes where there was some blood. I was like, this guy's super evil. What are the odds that a super evil guy is going to respect the idea of manners and the idea of, good
Yeah,
taste and
yeah.
things like that? And that's when I decided, no, I'm going to write until Diana's eyeballs pop out of her head when she's proofing. And then I know I have to tone it right about just a hair under that.
So, have
That's
your
kind of the
eyeballs
goal.
yet popped, Diana?
You know,
Almost.
Or how many
They're-
times have they popped?
well,
No, the last twist almost got her. So I revealed the last real twist to the final incarnation of the cardinal, and I don't want to say it live, but it caught her
Yes.
off guard, and it made her think,
mhm, I
and
did
that
too.
was awesome.
It
So,
was really cool too. The twist is really cool on how he was able to work in a few of the components of the story. What he wrote
So
for the
one of the unique things about, go ahead, you finish. I'll say it in a second.
right, I was just going to say one of the way you were able to take this certain dilemma and find such a creative way to make it happen, I thought was amazing. Yes, it caught me off guard, and I went, "Oh, okay, I can see this now." You know what I mean?
I
So,
can give away a little piece of the story for people so it makes a little sense. But
yeah,
basically, the cardinal, in order for the cardinal to appear, for instance, with the first cardinal, Fernando, he would have to be in
right,
prayer. And while in prayer, he was empowered to materialize as the cardinal elsewhere. So he would be in two places at once, inhabiting two bodies at once. But he had to maintain prayer in order to maintain the cardinal's presence.
hmm.
This
Interesting.
brought the ire of my co-creator, who said, I don't think that's a good idea for a superhero to have to be praying one place and have him be another place. So ultimately, I decided to come up with a solution for that. And I don't want to say what the solution is because that's the twist. And that was
Yeah,
what got Diana. Because at first, Diana was like, hi, 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 hi. And then she realized what was going on. She was like, oh.
yeah.
Which was what
It's
the thing I want to get out of a reader, right?
yeah. It's almost it sounded like it was supposed to be a version of astral projection.
Yes, exactly. Except what he was doing was the angels were allowing him. Well, the angels were basically transferring, like, the substance of the very molecules in the air into flesh. And as it turns out, that flesh is the premier body of the one praying. So the one praying is going to be in a certain physique, a certain, build, whatever.
Yeah,
But when he's the cardinal, he is the ultimate build that he can be. Kind of
yeah,
like Captain America's serum, but it's only in that body,
yeah.
not in the prayer body.
Oh, and it sounds like something I've tried to do. Well, I've introduced. I'm not sure how to put it. My universe, a spiritual gifting coming into reality.
Yeah,
mhm, yep,
It's like
and
my character, the flame. His fire was originally supposed to be, fire, spiritual fire that in the spirit he would fight with fire, but in an event he brought it into the physical realm, and
right.
that's changing his, allowing him eventually to use it to fight crime.
Mhm,
so in the case of the cardinal, he doesn't use fire, but it is like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's the manifestation of you know of his perfect righteousness in the eyes of the angels. I am very careful though to make sure I don't want anybody to think like it's dodging Jesus because it's not. The angels are aware of Christ.
mhm,
But I do tell the story in a way that, like, the angels are not, how do I put this? They are not respectful of the religions of men, even though they're aware of God. They have their own order. So when they realize that he's Catholic and everything, there's a point where he's like, gosh, I feel really guilty. I need to, make a confession. And they were like, they had to send him to the priest because they don't do confessions, which I know a couple of the guys who I allowed to read that part of the proof were kind of surprised by. They were like, well, they're angels. Of course they can. And it's like, no. Because the angels are not necessarily Catholic, like, and
Yeah,
I know that's part of their lore,
yeah.
but
Well,
I'm
the
like, no,
angel,
I'm not doing that part.
even with regular Christianity, they wouldn't accept the confession. That's not their job. It's
Right.
with Christianity, either A, we're supposed to do it one to another, to keep each other accountable, or you just go straight to God Himself through Christ.
Yep. But yeah, it was interesting for me because I did do a lot of the Catholic stuff. For instance, when he goes into the first prayer where he really gets into it and gets and incarnates as the cardinal. In his prayer, he starts off with the rosary,
Yeah.
and in his mind, I show like what he's seeing, and he sees like the Virgin Mary with her arms out praying for the people, and the people are down in the, and it's like that was new to me to draw. Like I had never drawn Mother Mary, that was not part of my iconology, I guess they would call it. As a child, I had drawn pictures of Jesus. I'd drawn Moses in the ark. I had done, or Noah in the ark. I had done Moses with the Ten Commandments. Like growing up, I remember drawing Bible stories and stuff. Not the lesser known ones, by the way. There's a pitch. But but I, like as a kid, I remember going to Sunday school and they'd tell a story and you'd draw it as best as you could, like you would in regular school.
Well, you might have drawn her if you're drawing the nativity stuff, Jesus' birth.
Right, but not as like not as the Roman Catholic Holy Mary, who basically, the way I see them seeing it, like they can explain it far better than me, but I see it as like, okay, so like she's basically on the board of directors and she's like right below the CEO. That's the way they got her, right? So I'm like, okay, so
if not on the board of, if not one of the CEOs or whatever.
Well, yeah, some of them would tell you, no, you listen to your mom, don't you? So who's the boss? I know, I've heard. God bless the Catholics. I'm not knocking them. I just don't.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised Catholic. I don't have that. But it was interesting for me to be able to go into that. You know what I mean? To look at it. I remember researching Catholic prayers for grace because there's a dating scene in the novel where a Protestant man is going out on a first date with a Catholic lady, and he's destined to become a cardinal as well, but he's not aware of it yet. And she touches his hand while they're praying, and it causes him to have a vision of angels. But when she touches his hand, she's saying a prayer, and it's something I researched and found. A lot of Catholics use this for grace, and it was just kind of neat because it's not too different from what you'd hear from a Protestant family. But it's got its little, its little Catholic edges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, I had a cough.
No, but it does. But it's again, it's not. Anybody could read it, even if you had no understanding of the, Catholic religion. You could still really enjoy this book.
Yeah.
It's not.
I kind of treated it. It should be as fun, and I think it is as fun as like when you reach Shazam and there's the obviously not Christian wizard going, you can have the powers of Solomon, and he starts listing off the Solomon, Hercules.
The only thing I find funny about that whole thing is they're all Greek except for Solomon, and they're all gods except for Solomon. They try and say the gods.
Solomon was recognized as a bad Mamba Jumbo back in the day because he had the Book of Wisdom, and a lot of pagans thought highly of him. And I'm using pagan loosely, like I'm not mentioning they weren't considered pagans. They had their own religion things, but I don't know what necessarily to call them. But they thought he was a wizard. They thought he was supremely intelligent.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. I moved the cord, touched the cord. You still there,
Okay.
Chris?
I can hear him talking.
Oh, I can't hear Chris.
No, I don't know what he's up there talking away. I don't even think he realizes we can't hear you.
He's muted. He,
I
Chris,
think
you're
he's
muted.
muted.
I see him as muted.
Oh yeah. He muted himself. He probably didn't even realize it. Let me see if he'll.
Hello,
I can hear.
hello.
Yeah, there you go. You're unmuted now.
No, I didn't mute myself. Something happened. It was weird. So I was sitting here and I can hear Diana going, I can hear him, but he can't, he doesn't know. I'm like, I know. Hang on. I'm trying.
You knew. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you knew.
Well, I had to get it back, but thank you.
Hmm.
Okay, so somehow I forget. I'm not sure exactly what you were saying. If you can remember.
Well, yeah.
If not, we
Basically, I
can.
think I was talking about how it was a unique experience to write them and treat them like the lore. You know, like it's just like
Right.
if you were writing Shazam. Yep, and then we were talking about Greeks, and Solomon was a god in their mind, in a sense, because of his divine wisdom. Okay, yeah, that's about where we were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like,
Yeah, he says.
I treat the Catholic religion a little bit like that when I put it in this novel. It was a lot like, okay, so they have these beliefs, and like there are instances where, Fernando is dealing like with the fact that the sliver that he got from the cross heals really quick, right? He doesn't thank God, he doesn't thank Mary, he thanks, I think it was Saint Anthony, the saint of healing. You know what I mean? Like there's Catholic touches in it that I never would do as a Protestant, but it was interesting to research a little bit and go, oh yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. I mean, like, there's a whole culture, and just think that's only one of what they say. There's 23,000 denominations in Christianity. Granted, it's an old one, and it's probably one of the oldest, if not the oldest. But wow,
Well,
what
I
a
wouldn't say the oldest because I think the oldest. I don't think it's some form of it is around that most of Protestants came out of. I would say is, the original. Whatchamacallit. Although you could argue the Catholics came out of the original one too. So, the
there's a lot of things like
origins.
I would hate to dissect anybody's religion. That's why I don't do it anymore. But like, there's so many influences from so many places that it's really hard for myself. I'll put it this way: to feel comfortable in believing that I'm in the original style church. And I've done
Oh,
home churches and multiple denominations, but that's really a me problem. Like I was asked why I don't attend church on a regular basis, like on a weekly basis. And really I don't for the sake of the other churchgoers, because I end up being the guy in the back who's going, that's not what that verse meant. That pastor's not as good as I wanted my pastor to be. And I'm the grumbler who, will ultimately bring other people down. So it's better for me, at least unless I find a very spectacular situation, not to harm others in that way.
yeah.
Right.
I guess for you, it's just if you're gonna debate with somebody about it, debate with the pastor off church property.
Dude, I've
So
done
you
some
go,
things
so you go
I'm
point
not proud of. Like,
counterpoint.
Diana's mentioned it before, and I just really wasn't aware of it until she started talking about it years after it was happening, I guess. I don't know. But I didn't know people knew that I was the one writing the little messages on the envelopes. Not at least initially. And she's like, yep, he'd write these notes. And the pastor would get them. And they all knew who wrote it. And I'm, oh, no. Because I wouldn't write mean stuff, but I'd be like, actually, 1 John 2:9 actually means this, not what you expressed, And no pastor wants to read that, I guess, but it was a passive aggressive way of saying I didn't agree with it without going up and saying to him, I don't agree with this. I got better about it as I got older with it. And then I eventually realized that it's me. usually has a problem with the church. Not so much the church is necessarily wrong. Not that they don't, and nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But if it's me not being able to keep my mouth shut, so I
Yeah.
accept that, and I just go on and we visit churches. There's one pastor rabbi that I can say we would go see in a heartbeat. He could be anywhere. If he says, "Hey, I need you guys down here," we'd find a way.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's 2 states away. So it's like, oh goodness gracious.
So is that two big
Can't do
states
that
away
every
or two
Sunday.
small states away? Or medium
No, they're
size?
big enough. They're big enough. Like yeah, they're big enough. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hour ride, and I don't know. It's not as bad as it used to be. I have to admit. But
Because
with
out
him,
of
you never
our
knew how long the service was going to last. So you might show up at like an 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. service and be there till 4 or 5. Might end up at his house. Like you never know what's going to happen.
we only have, out of our 10 provinces and 3 territories, we only have 3 that are really small. New Brunswick,
Well,
Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island.
If you look like at a state like Rhode Island, it appears to be very small. But then you got to drive through these highways, and you got to so you got to go through Massachusetts, you got to go through Rhode Island, then you get to Connecticut, and you got to get to the other side of Connecticut. And it's not, it's not like going to California, but it's a haul. And then,
Yeah.
it's like if you only go for an hour and a half and then you're driving back, well, now you've spent you're in the car for 4 hours for an hour and a half. And so with Diana, when it's that kind of ratio, she's like, well, maybe we can get a hotel room. And then, you're talking dinner, breakfast, maybe a little snack. It's, okay, now this is becoming a little vacation. We got to plan properly, budget. But
It's
every
true
time we've
though.
gone, I can tell you it's always been a blessing.
Mm.
Yeah.
I believe it's just because we're attuned to him, but he's an
Mhm.
amazing teacher as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. That's excellent. Now, with all that said, maybe we should head over to Fun My Comics and actually look at the campaign. I know, eh? What? I got it up. Let's see. Transform. Let's fit the screen. There. Let's see. Okay, everybody should be able to see. So, darkness does. Faces of the Cardinal. Divine power is the target as the demoniacs seek to deliver hell on earth to all mankind. Yeah, so yeah, you've got 14 backers, $630 so far, raised in 19 days. You're 126% of your goal, so you've achieved it. You've got 40 days to go. Well, yeah, you create. Well, well, well. I think she. Did you do the campaign over on what's this? Not. No, 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 not no. Put up a campaign up on Kickstarter. Yeah, 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 yeah. So you don't. So for this campaign, you don't seem to have a lot of rewards. And anybody in the chat, feel free to put some questions in the chat or whatever. I'll see them in a minute. Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, and you could do yeah, lots of different adventures. You could do the adventures of certain ones. Now, you cover every single one for sure that there's been, or there's add in? Yeah, but yeah, you said what were those two names? Angelo and who? Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. So you could easily say, fill in for I don't know, one a cardinal in between. Do stuff that you haven't mentioned about a cardinal in between. Yeah, 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 yeah. So the two tiers or rewards or whatever you want to call them, you have is of course the digital for $10. So well, it's pretty self-explanatory. You get that one, you get the digital. And then, of course, there is the $20 deal, which is definitely cheap. And it's actually not even. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. And, and you get free shipping in the US too. That is really good because that's going to be a fairly thick book at 140 pages. That's going to be thicker than your Trolls book. Yeah. 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 Now here's a question. Would you consider ever coloring it and doing, well, maybe not a campaign, but releasing a color version? Uh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get that for sure. Yeah, and even the shipping, even the, well, I am doing my own art on two projects at Lesser Known Bible Stories, and then I am doing my own stuff on Insecto, #1. They're both no, not right away. I'm not sure. But yeah, well, yeah. I recently did a turnaround for him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Here, let me see. I can bring it up in one thing and see whether I can get it in. No, just can't. See whether I can. I didn't. Okay, let's. But if you can see it there, that's a turnaround. Front, back, front, back, and side. You know, I'm gonna probably do another back version without seeing the cape, to so they know what he looks like without the cape. Yeah, but there's not much under the cape. It's just the belt continues around, and it's white. No, yeah, there's that from my comic. There we go. Get back to that. So yeah, Yeah, this definitely looks like a really good project. Like as you guys already know, I've been in it, and the shipping, you guys have not too bad. Like I think you're gonna lose money on the shipping too. You know, hopefully, yeah. I would just go try to make. You might have to go with very minimal packaging, at least for Canada or whatever. Because I remember when I'm not sure which book. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, what? Yeah, but what I mean is, I know you guys usually put in a big, like Gemini box or whatever, Gemini mailer. Like if you put it in, like a bubble mailer, it would probably be cheaper. Yeah, or even the rigid mailers. I forget what they're called, but that you get them at the dollar store, or cheap store, usually. you know, because I know when I got, well, you probably got them this way too. When you got the ones from Grok Comics, the type of mailer that he used, because when he shipped, a regular sized comic book to me here, it only cost him like it was like under $5. I'm pretty sure U.S. Yeah. So it does depend on the weight, like as long as you think it's going to get here unharmed, like I don't care about the. Yeah, yeah. And I know you might be putting a couple other comics in there, which I gotta talk to you maybe after in the next couple days to getting you some money for those because I forget which one that you said I got. I want to pay for, the pardon? I know you opened it a couple weeks ago on your stream. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let me switch it so you. Uh, okay, buy
See
for
ya.
that. Let's up there, there, and
This is his most
okay.
modern costume.
Hold on, hold on. Don't.
Yeah, I still don't see me on YouTube, but
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
still
there.
looking
Now
at
I
it.
see you.
How you
Oh, you
doing,
went
man?
black. Oh, every time you switch over to YouTube, it goes black.
Oh wow, look at that.
Cause
Whoa,
you,
what the heck was that? It just blinked on me.
yeah,
I don't
I
And
know.
it,
think I think you need to have so you can't put either of them down like in the
Ah,
taskbar. They have to both be up, Chris.
what do you mean?
Like not in the just in the taskbar. Like you can't
right.
minimize. I'm not sure whether you have minimized, but you have to be, or you have to be either that, or you might just have to be over here in Discord,
Yeah.
for it to show you and what you're showing. You can't be in the. Can't actually.
Oh, I actually have it in my camera. So that's weird because I can see me with it in Discord, but not on YouTube. I'm looking at YouTube and it's not coming across.
Yeah, well, when you do that, whatever you're doing, it does it stops showing you here in OBS.
Yeah, it's weird because all I'm doing is showing my camera. So there, I just turned it off. You see how it's my
Here, let me come
Canadian
over
Shield
to.
avatar? Now watch
Yeah.
this. I'll turn it on. It'll come on for a second, and then it'll blink out. Maybe it will. Hang on. 1, 2. Nope, they're good. Okay, it never came back, but it is showing my icon now. I think it's on my end, Rick. I have to restart the unit from the other earlier. Oh wait. Look, is that me up there?
Yeah, should be now.
Yeah, and there's the Cardinal. Yeah, okay, no, there's the Cardinal.
Yeah, just don't switch over to YouTube or whatever. Don't do whatever you did before right now. Just
It's
keep
something
everything
inside this one computer because the other computer, the one on YouTube, is separate. Yeah, so this is the Cardinal from the modern Cyclopean stories. He has his own action figure.
Thanks to one of your Mantown friends
Yes, sir.
or your old one of your old homies.
So that was made by this gentleman.
Captain.
whose
An
most
action
impressive
made-
accomplishment is this. So this is so cool. I like the other ones are easily, you can tell they're mashups from Marvel action figures.
So are they like scalable? Are they right size to each other?
Essentially, they're close. Because like the way this is done, this is actually, I guess, a Hulk that was repainted and then remolded a new head and all sorts of fun stuff to get him, to where he is. I actually have replaceable hands. I can pull those out and.
Well, I think. Do the hands go like this, sort of?
Let me see your. Do it again. The hands go like "Rah," or like "Rah."
Yeah.
Yes. Like,
yeah. Then
yep.
that's the same one that I have for Canadian Shield.
That's cool. But like these guys are all from regular Marvel characters. This was actually a Moon Knight, I believe. So yeah, like when you stand him next to Cyclopean, he's about a foot shorter, which is kind of cool.
Just don't drop that Cyclopean from like 6 or 7 feet. He'll break at the legs.
Oh really? I don't want to break his legs. This, of course, is Wiretap. So those are all guys currently in the book, but the Cardinal is the one that is the feature of the graphic novel. And I can't say no more. I love my book, and you will too.
Yeah. I've put the link in the chat, and pinned it there. I've got the link in the description, as well as your Twitter link and your, I think, YouTube link. I think all the links are there in the chat. Let me make
Yeah, the
sure.
YouTube is probably the best one. The Twitter one is stupid.
Oh, your
in the
website.
sense that
Well,
What's that?
I don't actually have your
Twitter?
No, I got your
It's
Twitter.
okay.
I got your Twitter. I got the Fun My Comic, and I got your website. I got to put
Fair
the
enough.
YouTube one in at some point.
But the Twitter is where I go to just be stupid.
Yeah.
I do post some comic book stuff there, but really there's a whole ecosystem there of craziness. And if you're not already on there, I know this is hypocritical, but I would recommend don't bother. Twitter is such a mess. If you can stay off of it, it's worth it to stay off of it. But otherwise, yeah, we're also on Facebook. I just look up Hero Shack. Diana primarily runs the Instagram, and you can reach us anywhere if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, suggestions. We're on all those systems, and the website, of course, has our emails and stuff too. I think, yeah.
This is right.
Yeah.
I'm back here giggling because this really isn't my gig. You know that, Rick. I do Wednesday night shows, and we get like half the views that you get.
Oh,
So it's
sometimes I
like-
think you get more, but
On a
Yeah.
good night, if we're doing something crazy, maybe, but on an average night, I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? But that's all going to change this year. We're going to change everything, and then we can all just
Yeah.
So funny.
no. I was going to say we can
Well,
all do YouTube streams. Not that I like the
well,
Wednesday stream. I don't like doing nightlies and stuff like that.
well, I found a way to get myself some extra views and watch
Uh
time.
what are
I'll
you
tell you.
doing, right?
I'll tell you off the air. That way YouTube doesn't hear.
Yeah.
You got an OnlyFans.
No, 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 no. But
That would be weird, wouldn't it?
You can't even.
yeah,
I'm not saying. We're not going to talk about that. You just
Yeah,
stop
because
that.
that would be too weird. Like if your buddy from the internet goes,
It's 10:15. What happens when it gets after 10 with Christopher? He goes cuckoo.
yeah. Well, I am,
No,
I am, I am definitely going to be going on with this stream and um, probably
"Yeah, my eyes
doing
are on
just
fire."
doing some stuff. But I I know it's well, it's the same time here for me as it is for you. But you guys have to you guys usually go to bed a little earlier than I do.
Well, we're not young men like you.
I know. And I'm not
Well,
even a
well, your
man.
wife certainly isn't a man like me.
That's true. That's true. I'm sorry, honey. I didn't. Yeah, you're right. After 10, it gets real sloppy.
Oh yeah, you get it. So I'm gonna. Oh, Rick, I'm gonna break away and go get myself ready for bed. But for all of you that were listening, thank you so much. Please check it out. It's a really cool graphic novel. Um, any questions you can ask Rick or drop us a line at Hero Shack. Yeah, and Rick, thank you for having us again.
Yeah,
Really
no
appreciate
problem.
it.
As you know,
I'll be honest.
anytime, every time.
I agree with her. Thank you so much.
And you guys just
I
gotta
gotta
get
go to
yourself
bed
onto
too.
other shows. You've got the people to to reach out to that'll have you on.
Yeah, I do.
I'm
I'm
sure
gonna do that.
I'm sure
What do
Metal
you
would be
what do you
willing to
see as
have you
far
on
as
again as well. Doing another interview with him, either
Mm-hmm.
pre-recorded or live.
Yeah, that's true. We could do pre-recorded.
we
Not,
could?
you know.
Does that mean I get to send you questions as if I was a politician?
No,
No.
it just
Can we
means
have no?
he
We have
gets
a
it
no
on
chocolate?
and he get-
Both Rick and
he
I are like,
records
no.
it. He takes you off air, records the interview, and then I
Yeah.
just
And,
uploads it.
yeah,
Maybe
there's nothing
edits it a
bad.
little.
I think that's
All
what
right,
Eric
out of
does
here.
too.
Graciously say good night and God bless you all and thank you for listening and tuning in. And Rick, you have a good rest of the evening, okay?
Okay, you too. God bless.
All
I'm gonna
right.
bounce too, Rick. God bless you.
Okay.
I'll be watching though. I'm gonna put you on and fall asleep to you. As weird as that sounds.
Okay. There we go. We will say thank you for those guys coming on. It was great having them here. I'm gonna get out of the Discord unless somebody comes by. Let's come on. There we go. Okay, so let's turn on our thing. We'll get into some drawings, see whether anybody else comes by. Okay, so although you know what, maybe I'll be back in a second because I want to grab a little something to drink. So yeah, give me a sec. I'm gonna do. Be right back. There we go. Okay, so I am back. Okay, let's bring up snowdrifts. Okay, yeah, snowdrifts right up there. There we go. So is anybody here? Is anybody watching? Is anybody listening? Uh, I like that, but I don't. I'm not sure what I don't like about it. The arms. I'm not here. Hey, Flint, how are you? Did you watch? Were you here for any of the interview? Nah. Sorry to hear that. I guess. I don't know whether I should be sorry to hear that. Merge visible layers. Okay, so let's. Uh, no disrespect. So were you on my Saturday? Did you come by my Saturday night stream? My whatever did I call? What did I call Saturday night? Who knows? I think. Yeah, I called it. Who knows? I don't know, all days kind of run together like one big, long, never ending day. Yeah, I get that, especially a little bit right now. Uh, it's the one where I told everybody about my dad. I talked about my dad. Or the the day that I don't normally stream, it was at night, probably like 10 at night, 10 or 11 at night. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe you weren't. Well, anyways, my dad was in town on the weekend. I'm not sure whether you knew, but back in 2023, he had cancer, the bladder, cut his bladder out at Christmas. He was supposed to be cancer free. Last Thursday, he found out the cancer was back and aggressive. And today, after he learned that from his family doctor who had seen a CAT scan that he got the day before. Today he was talking with his cancer doctor and basically, and he's not fighting it because he fought it the last time and, you know, chemo kicked his butt. He doesn't want to feel like that. So, and if he did fight it, he'd have like 6 months to a year, but he'd be feeling crappy for the first 6 months. So, doesn't want to feel like that. He just wants to live the rest of his life very good. I'm not sure how you want to say it. So basically, with not fighting it, they're giving him the prognosis of 3 to 6 months. Thanks. What? He's 70. Well, he will be 77 the 2nd of May. So about 3 weeks' time. He's lived a good life. He has no regrets, as he says, so I just have one regret. Well, maybe two, I don't know. But he doesn't know Jesus. And I want him to be around a lot longer. Chemo is brutal. I watched my friend's mom go through it, so I kind of understand not wanting to do it again. Yeah. Yeah, I get all that. You know, like, praying for a miracle for him. I'm not sure what you have for faith, but if you do, include them in your prayers, please. So what have you been up to, Flit? How's your week going? Sorry for, every day running into each other. She is looking really leggy. I'm not sure whether I like how leggy she looks. Weather is getting nice, so lots of outdoor work, which means less time for 3D modeling and stuff. Uh, yeah, you're trying to learn Blender, right? Narrow the chest. Slash. I'm probably not doing exactly what you're suggesting, but I was gonna try and bring. That looks a little better, I think. What do you think, Flit? I know I need to do slightly better details, but maybe I need to. That's too skinny. Okay, let's see this. That doesn't look so bad. Hmm. Let's see with the face. I don't really like what I did with the face here. Don't like that face. I gotta get her face from the comics. Copy whatever John did. Looks like a monkey head or one of those shrunken heads on somebody. You use a reference model to base her face on, like a celebrity or someone. I didn't today. Well, I haven't before. Should have a couple pages of John Drew with her face in comments. I can have this. Uh, is that? Let's go to. Hmm. Uh, I might do the 2 hours, but and 11. Who do you imagine playing Snowdrift in the movie? Uh, Actually, I haven't. I know I probably should have, but I haven't really thought about that. Uh, Hey, Metal. Are you thinking about Flit's question? No, I'm thinking about hamburgers. Definitely not what I'm thinking about. Yes. Actually, I'm just trying not to think at all. I had the dip earlier, but the depressed sounds like are related to it. Yeah, minor update. Um, I'm not sure how much. I did a stream on Saturday night talking about it a lot. As you may remember, Metal, 2023, my dad had cancer. Got his bladder cut out at Christmas of 2023 to get rid of it. The cancer is back and aggressive because chemo whipped his butt a little bit or a lot back then. He doesn't really want to go through it again. And talking to his, and that was all before talking to his cancer doctor, just talking to his family physician who had a CAT scan about it. He was talking to his cancer doctor today. If he fought it, he'd have 6 months to a year, but he'd have the first 6 months of chemo kicking his butt, which he doesn't want the feeling of that. So he's decided not to go through chemo and all that again. So it's 3 to 6 months. But I am praying for a miracle. And I have a lot of other people praying too. Hopefully the miracle comes through. And then, of course, I'm praying for his salvation too. I'm trying to keep a stiff upper lip, as they say. Trying to keep the spirits up, but it's hard. Yeah, yeah. I get the decision and all that myself too. Can't say I might make the same decision if I was in his shoes too. So yeah, there is this skinny, as they say. I've been losing a lot of people lately myself, so Yeah. My mom and dad, less than 2 years apart. Oh, sorry to hear that, Metal. My condolences to you and to the rest of your family. And my dad's also. Yeah, I knew about your mom. I don't think I knew about your grandpa. But again, yeah. I lost my dad's mom and dad a while back. Probably 20 years ago. Lost my mom's mom and dad, 96 and 97. I've lost a few aunts and uncles and friends and all that time too. Some that I was close to, some not. But, I think it was Alpha that said it in the stream on Saturday. That's the part that sucks about getting old. People die. Uh, wow. Came in at the right time. Meaning, oh yeah, the year before my mom lost my cousin Kenny, who had 15 years on me. We almost lost. We've almost had a loss a year every. Uh, that's no joke. Yeah. Uh, we've almost had a loss at least every other year since 2016 on my dad's side. I'd say I would rock. I'd say rock would pick Ginger Spice to play Snowdrift. Nah, I don't think Ginger Spice is quite tall enough. Because Snowdrift is what, 5'9", I think? Let me me check if I can find out on my website. I know it'd be hard to get people to play every single one of my characters because of a lot of the heights. Well, especially Canadian Shield. There ain't really any 8 feet people around built like a brick house. Yeah, 5'9", 125 pounds. Yeah, that too. Although technically, Snowdrift's a little older than that. Well, it depends on what time you think. She's probably in her 20s back in the 50s when she disappeared. But, now it's technically she's a lot older than that because, it's been a few years since she's been in that snow and ice. Although she's probably still saying she's 20 something. Because that's what she looks. Okay, I guess you're taking off, Peter. Okay, see you in the morning. When you were put into cold storage, it's what age your body was when you left. That matters. And thank you, Peter. I was hoping to see Goodnight Spoon tonight. I can't see him stop coming around because of what happened last Tuesday. Uh, what are you thinking of the new draw so far? Metal. Well, I've been going 2 hours now too. And if I want it. Her hip waist ratio is better at least. Uh-huh. Uh, you think the arms are a bit better? I think her head is too small. She seems very leggy to me. Although I did base it off of Wonder Woman, so maybe that's why. Women should be leggy. Did I? Yeah, I took the one that I have this one that I did. What do you think of that? They should have legs for days. The head just seems too small on that for me. So you're saying you really like a lot of leg on your women? Let's just. Well, that one's not so bad. I had done another one I think just before this. Seemed a little bit too. Yeah, head is definitely too small there. Marker should be. Marker should still too big. Looking as she is just turning away from us. Oh, don't worry about the back view at the moment. I'm trying to get the front view. The back view makes her too big. Wonder who wrote the book of love. On the phone typing card. Yeah, no problem. So if we cut that off, paste it in. And then we take 7. And then let's scale it down just slightly. Take the head. That look a little better, Metal? for proportions. You think one or the other needs a little bit bigger, a bit smaller? Because it can merge. You're still probably not at the 5.9 mark there. So okay, cancel. No. Let's put that red line on. Okay, so how's that look? I know I just enlarged her, but that gets her to her approximately right height. It's supposed to be 5.9, so. I think I'm gonna save that because I think I'm gonna end this, get some stuff put away, and then I think I'm gonna go to bed. Oh, thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for Chris and Diana coming on, sharing about their latest campaign and all that. So we will see you Thursday. We'll be starting a little bit late on Thursday because I'm going to be working till 7. So we're going to be starting at 8 on Thursday. The Silhouette game. Bye, everyone. God bless. Love you all. Have a great night.